So we are installing raised beds. We have 4 of these and we've just got one put together completely. Now we're working on filling it. And what we're using in the bottom is we have logs. Fortunately, we have a great source to get a lot of these cut in whatever lengths, and we don't need it split or anything. We just, because this is going to, first of all, be a filler for the bottom of the beds.
It's good to have an arborist as a friend.
Yes, it is. But it's also going to break down over time in contact with the soil. It will break down and add nutrients, and it will help with moisture. So we're putting quite a bit of material in here, but a lot of the soil is going to sink through this. And we're putting all different sizes because we want them to break down at different rates. And I think it's going to be a great foundation for these beds. But it is very, very labor intensive and time consuming. And so we're almost to the point where we're going to add soil to this bed. I'm going to tear up some pieces of brown cardboard, add that to the mix. That will also help break down and hold moisture. So
I think this is going to do it.
I think so too. So I think we're going to finish with this, throw some chunks of cardboard, not solid layer. I don't want that because I want the soil to get down. Again, it's just pieces to break down and to hold moisture. So this is what we have been up to. And my sweetie there has done a whole lot. And it's going to be hot today, so we're going to finish today soon. So we've got brush in there. We've got torn up brown cardboard, just irregular pieces because we don't want a solid layer.
And don't forget Jimmy Hoffa is in here too.
Shh. So anyway, Brian is now shoveling some dirt in there. We want this dirt to sift down. We don't want it to sit on top of all this. So as he's doing this, I'm going to get the hose and thoroughly water this stuff down. Because again, we need contact with the soil for the wood and cardboard to break down, and also so we can get some good microbial action. And I may have to buy worms because I have yet to see any worms on my property, but you can do that.
We can get those rubber ones that we fish with out there at Walmart.
Yeah, get some, see how that works. So I'm going to start watering this in. All right, it's about 10 in the morning, and this is how much we got accomplished. We have a little bit of dirt in there, and more than you see because some of it has filtered down. But that's the start. But we're going to have 100 degrees today, probably. Could be even higher. And it's full sun, so we're going to stop because it's just not wise to work in this altitude in this heat, or any altitude in this heat. Brian got that mostly leveled. That's going to be where the next raised bed will go. So he's been shoveling the dirt from there, putting it in the raised bed. We're going to put the landscape fabric across there. It's 6 feet wide, so we're going to overlap so that we can put mulch on the paths in between them, which will keep weeds down and make it much nicer to walk on. So that's what we've been doing. And there's a big old pile of dirt that's going to be used in these raised beds, and we're going to have to bring in a lot more. So Brian and I were out this morning working on the raised garden bed. And today is going to be the hottest day we've had this summer so far. It's 98 right now. They're saying 101, 102. I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. But with Nevada sunshine, high altitude, and that temperature, that's hot. And we don't have air conditioning because we're off grid. And because we don't have air conditioning, I don't want to heat up my house tonight cooking. So I decided to get out my sun oven, and this is going to be a really simple supper, but one we like. And I'm going to use the sun oven and the top of my range, and that's it to make supper. So I'm making some baked potatoes. I've pierced them. I'm gonna butter them. I don't wrap them in foil. I used to, but I don't do that anymore. And then I have the stackable set from All American Sun Oven. So I can put 2 sets of baked potatoes in there. And why that is great, yeah, there's only the 2 of us. But I like to use baked potatoes, leftovers, for making my breakfast tacos, potato and egg and bacon or whatever. And normally you have to use hash browns, either frozen or homemade or dehydrated. But if you just take some baked potatoes, shred them, and they make perfect hash browns. So far I've used leftover butter wrapper. Well, that one's mostly done. There may be a little bit left. So that will get started. Now I'm just going to cut off a little bit of butter, and I'm going to use my hands. Yeah, it's messier than the wrapper, and I could use that to move it around, but this is faster. So here's the second rack. And you know what? These are going to go on the bottom because that guy's fat. And I'll give these just a bit more butter. That helps the skin crisp up, and that's what we like. If you put them in foil, you're basically steaming them, and that's fine. That's how we did it. That almost got away. That's how we did it when I was growing up. But I like this better. Now, I said that I am going to make this in the sun oven and on top of the range. So what I'm going to be doing with these is these will be baked potatoes, and then I'm going to take a jar of my home canned beef chuck, which shreds beautifully. Heat that up, add a little bit of barbecue sauce and some cheese and butter and sour cream and green onions, and they are going to be delicious. Have that along with the salad. It's going to be wonderful, and I'm not heating up my kitchen. So my sun oven is reading 300 degrees right now, and I'm going to re-aim this a little bit. I've had it sitting out here for a while. And yes, that's nice and toasty. And the way you aim your sun oven is you try and get the sun to go through that hole straight down and light it up. And I think I got you too far. Nope, I need to go that way more. And it doesn't have to be exact because I've had this preheated, so it's gonna be hot. But you get the higher temperatures by keeping it more closely lined up with the sun. So I'm gonna let these bake for about 2 hours. Could be a little bit less, depends on the size of your potato. So we'll come back when it's time to make supper. It's about 5:40 and it's been a little over 2 hours. Maybe longer than that, but it's been a while. And I'm not sure if you can see because it's getting in shadow now, but there's condensation all over the top. And last I checked about 45 minutes ago, the glass was still pretty clear. It was a little condensation, but the temperature was still 300 degrees. So now it's down to about 200 degrees, and I will guarantee you that these potatoes are done. So I'm going to take them out. And I'm just going to let this close but not seal so that can dry out. I'm going to take these potatoes inside. We're going to get supper ready. I've opened up a pint of home canned chuck beef, and I'm just going to heat that up, and it's not going to take very long. I cooked out most of the liquid. There's just a little bit left in the bottom. And I'm just going to use some barbecue sauce I have on hand. You can use whatever kind you like. And you can do this with pork, you can do it with chicken. I just prefer the beef. And that's finished. That easily. So now let's put together this baked potato. So the baked potato is done. It's still pretty hot. And I'm gonna slice it open and smash it to try and open it up. And you can put whatever you like on your baked potato. I pretty much like the works. And lots of butter melted into it. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some salt, and I'm using Falk salt. This is the coarse sea salt flakes. That I did a video about Falk salt, but about different salts. But this one has garlic infused in it. I thought that would be good. And it's crunchy. And that's a finishing salt, but it's really good salt. Now I'm gonna put some of my beef on there. Gotta have some cheese. A little bit of sour cream. And then some sliced green onions right on top. And there is my baked potato. A nice salad to go along with it. And a really good supper that didn't heat up the kitchen, but it's a favorite, a long-term favorite of ours. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and God bless.